Well, good morning, everyone. Or good afternoon, depending on where you're located. My name is Steve Jones, and I'm a brokerage director here at BGA Insurance. And like I said, thank you for joining us. I know that your time is very valuable, so I think it's a little bit, it's right at 11 o'clock. So I'm going to go ahead and start the presentation in case anybody, or if anybody has any questions, let me know. Okay. First of all, little background about myself. I have been in the insurance industry for over 20 years. I've worked on both the insurance carrier side and also the general agency side. So, for the lack of a better term, I've sat on both sides of the table. I've held regional group manager positions for a couple of group insurance companies, managing multiple state territories. And for the last 10 years, I've worked on the general agency side, specializing in individual products. BGA Insurance, we are a full service general agency located in Costa Mesa, California. We work with brokers all throughout the country, and we specialize in life insurance, both permanent and term, annuities, fixed index annuities, and MIGAs, long-term care, and also disability insurance, including individual disability insurance, business overhead expense, key person coverage, disability buyout, and business loan protection coverage. We do represent over 60 of the leading carriers. We have excellent relationships with our carriers, and we're able to get on a phone call with an executive or an underwriter if need be in order to make a decision on a client of yours. We're also very fortunate to have in-house experienced and knowledgeable case managers, and they really make things go for us. And I lean on them on a daily basis. They help us and help you as brokers get your application submitted, help you get your application submitted correctly. If need be, order paramed exams, order telephone interviews, medical records, etc. And they're going to work with you and the underwriter all throughout the process, keep you updated with the goal of helping your client get approved for coverage, help the policy get issued, and also help you get paid. On a daily basis, I work with all types of financial professionals, including independent agents, financial advisors, property and casualty brokers, employee benefit specialists, Medicare specialist. It's really all across the board. Some of these brokers, they might write one case with us a year. Some might write one case a month, and some might write, one case a week. But from what I see is that the brokers that are more proactive with their clients talking about the need for life insurance protection, the more business they're going to write. On a daily basis, I also hear from brokers, Steve, I just don't really have conversations with my clients, about life insurance. I don't really feel comfortable, having that conversation with my clients. I don't know what to ask. I really don't know what to say. Or, I was reading recently, Steve, about these permanent life insurance products. And, I like what I read. I, kind of like the concept, but it's, seems a little bit difficult to understand. And if I can't understand it, how am I going to explain it to my client so they can understand? If you joined us a couple of weeks ago, I spoke about the three buckets of money and how that relates to insurance. Now, today, I'm going to go through an analogy that will hopefully make some of these concepts a little bit easier for you to understand and also easier for you to explain to your clients. So let's say I come to you with a concept for a new company. And this company, pretty basic, we're going to manufacture wooden chairs. And these are not just any run-of-the-mill wooden chairs. And pardon the pun, I'm talking about some high quality, top of the line chairs. I mean, some really, really cool chairs. They're going to be comfortable. They're going to look good in your house or on your deck overlooking the ocean. I mean, these are chairs that are built well and they're built to last. Now, with any new company to get started, I'm going to need investors. So I'm going to go out and have a conversation with you. I'm going to thoroughly explain our new company, what we're trying to build, our short-term goals, and also our long-term goals, and also our financial projections. So, we have a couple of stations, we're kind of back and forth. And then you're like, hey, Steve, I like what I hear. I've read through the proposal. The numbers seem to make sense to me. And, hey, I think I want to invest in the company. So that's great, right? They understand the concept. They know the numbers. They like what we're talking about, and they want to invest. So the next questions you're most likely going to get are, how much is it going to cost? And how long do I need to invest? Now, remember, we're building this company for the long term, and we're going to have long-term goals to reach that. So it's going to require commitment. So in the situation here, our proposal is, okay, you're going to invest $10,000 a year, every year, for up to a 10-year period. Okay, so you're investing, and then you want to know, okay, Steve, where is this money, where's this money going to? Now, in our example of a chair manufacturing company, we're going to need to buy, set up the factory with manufacturing equipment. We're going to need to buy saws. We're going to need to buy sanders. We're going to need to buy wood, nails, paint. And of course, we're going to have to hire employees. We're going to have to pay their salaries, and we're also going to have to pay their benefits. So yeah, these are pretty normal startup costs for any type of company. Okay, so now you've invested, we're starting to buy this equipment. Now, we turn the lights on. So what is that going to look like at the first years of producing? So in the first year, like remember, we're just getting started, buying the equipment, setting everything up. So no chairs are being produced initially. There's nothing really yet to sell except for our idea of what we're trying to build. Because of that, we are not making any money. Now, in year two, first chairs are starting to be produced. The word gets out about our product. People really like it. They start buying chairs, and we start making a little bit of money. Now, by year three, we're pretty much at full production, full steam ahead. We're selling more chairs, making more money, and we're really starting to hit our stride. Now, it's important to remember that our expenses are going to be ongoing. They're going to be ongoing the first year, all throughout the life of the business as we continue to grow and expand and to sell more chairs. So let's say one of the investors then comes to you, and they're going to need to access their money. Something happened in their lives, and they're going to need to access some of their investment. Or an investor comes back to you and asks, how is my money doing? I know I've invested. What does my investment look like up to date? Now, the reality is with our company is that, it's going to take some time in order to get your money back. In the first few years, even though your account is growing, the numbers are going to be small, and you might be able to access a small amount of money or access no money at all. And let's say after 4 to 5 years, your account is still continuing to grow and your account's starting to look better, you should be able to access, a little bit more money in that time frame. Now, in 10 years plus horizon, our business is starting to mature. Word is out about the company. We're selling a lot of chairs. It's going to be easier for you to access your money and also to access a larger amount of your money. Now, with our business, we're going to also send out to you, because you're an investor in our company, on your annual basis, we're going to send out annual statements to show you what your investment looks like. And it's always a good idea for us to meet with our investors on an annual basis to keep them up to date. Now, remember, we're building something to last. In this analogy here, you plant an acorn, you water the acorn, it grows, but it takes a long time to grow. You're committed to the company. It's going to take time for your money to grow and for you to take money out of the company. It's kind of like the acorn becoming an oak tree, as opposed to instant waving microwave popcorn where you get immediate results. Now, in a normal business, if there are profits, the profits are going to be taxed. We have a unique feature in our company in that the profits are going to be left in the business, and that money is going to be allowed to grow on a tax deferred basis. And when your account reaches a certain amount of money, you can borrow money if your plan is designed properly, and you can borrow this money on a tax-free basis. So that's really a unique feature of our company versus most manufacturing companies. Like we discussed earlier, so here's the game plan. A little recap here. The game plans, we're going to invest. We're going to invest steadily because you're committed to the company. Your money is going to grow, and it's going to grow within the company on a tax-deferred basis. But like we discussed, there are going to be ongoing costs like any business, and these costs will continue as long as we're in business together. And our company, it's going to reward patience. You're in it for the long haul. This is not our get-rich-quick scheme. And also another benefit is all the while, there's protection for your family in case something were to happen to you as the investor. Now, up until now, I don't think I've mentioned, but I'm pretty sure I haven't mentioned the term insurance. So, what are we talking about with this analogy of a wooden chair company? Well, this is kind of how permanent life insurance policy would work, specifically an index universal life insurance policy. Now, unlike term insurance, where coverage lasts 10 years, 20 years, or 30 years, these plans, or our company, if properly designed and funded, this coverage can last for a lifetime. If you do pass away, your beneficiaries will receive a tax-free benefit that can leave a legacy to your family. The money is kept inside the policy, which allows it to grow on a tax-deferred basis. And unlike term insurance, the premiums are flexible. And if there's enough money in the policy, you as the policyholder can borrow against that policy on a tax-free basis. Also, there's a potential for growth based upon performances of indexes that you've selected in the policy. And it's always good to monitor these policies and the indexes on a regular basis, and that's where the annual report would come into play. It also provides protection against poor performance of a particular index, and that you have a zero floor. There are also no mandatory contribution limits like one would have within a 401k plan or an IRA. And there are a number of different optional riders to choose from, including long-term care riders, which have become very popular in the last few years. There's also critical illness riders and chronic illness riders, and that's just to name a few. And also, unlike a traditional retirement plan, IUL policies do not require minimum distributions. Now, who would be an ideal client for an index universal life insurance policy? This would include high income earners. That could be executives or business owners. Maybe they've maxed out on their 401k plan or their IRA plans. It could be a business owner and they have variable income, so they like the flexibility of a flexible premium structure. Maybe clients that like the idea of permanent insurance where the coverage lasts longer than their term coverage. People that want to diversify to complement their taxable and tax-deferred income. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about the $3 money, so that kind of rings true here as well. You might also have pre-retirees, people say 35 to 55 years old, who have a long time to build a meaningful cash value prior to accessing their policy. Like I said, people that like the idea of flexible premium just in case their needs change throughout their life, which they often do. And also individuals that are concerned about tax increases and would like to access potentially tax-free income later in life. That's another big benefit of these index universal life policies. if you have any clients within these categories, please feel free to reach out to me, and we can, educate you on the ideas, the concept of the policy to make it a little bit easier for you to have those conversations. We're always happy to jump on a phone call or a Zoom meeting, with your clients, as well. I think we're running out of time here, but in closing, hopefully our time together was beneficial, to you. If you currently have any clients that have a need for life insurance, hopefully that helps you in having that conversation with them. Remember, we're always here to support you. You can go to our website, access all of our resources. You can run illustrations, you can take applications. We have a library full of sales ideas that are customizable that you can use with your clients. And like I said, please feel free to reach out to me if you ever have any questions or if I could ever be of any assistance to you. And are there any questions? Of course, you have my phone number and contact information here, and hopefully you'll reach out to us. I'll look forward to speaking with you soon. Have a great rest of your day. And also remember that our Director of Annuities, Trenton Zimmerman, is holding weekly webinars on Tuesday called 20-Minute Tuesday Annuity Webinar. So be on the lookout for an invitation there. Also be on the lookout for me for another one of these sales ideas webinars in regards to life insurance. Thank you very much, everyone, and hopefully you have a great day.